You're a podcast, you know how it goes.
Yeah. I had a bunch of fancy equipment when I first started, and then I started traveling so much and like sort of being on the campaign trail and conferencing and stuff that I just started using my iPhone.
Mm-hmm. Campaign trail?
Mm-hmm.
Are you running for office?
No. I did the No Prop 60 campaign.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about that before you got here. That was the condom bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which basically just bullies everyone in the sex worker industry.
Yeah. But we killed it, so.
That's good. But Kira was telling me there's still some sort of law about condom with porn.
There was another one passed where, like last time I was on a kink set, they said that they had to make sure we were all offered condoms. And like it's one of those things where like technically we are still supposed to wear them, but nobody's checking up on us if they would have with Prop 60.
CalOSHA, that's regulatory stuff.
So that was Measure B, right?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
So what is the current legislation on condoms?
So Measure B passed in 2012, which is the same year I started my podcast. It was the same year as Prop 35, which is when we started conflating human trafficking and prostitution just as one. But Prop 35 really was instrumental in like paving the way for SESTA, right? But that all happened in 2012, which is partially why I started the podcast.
What's SESTA?
The Prop 60 thing. SESTA FOSTA?
No, SESTA FOSTA is a huge piece of legislation that just passed in Congress in April.
Oh, okay.
That really, it's essentially like a net neutrality piece of legislation almost, because the way it combats sex trafficking is by ensuring that the rules of the internet have now fundamentally changed. So now any user uploaded content, be it on Pornhub, YouTube, or Backpage, rest in peace, the platform is now liable for that content. And so that has caused a huge chilling of speech.
Oh. And that's why the Craigslist personal ads went away.
That's why accounts are getting shut down on Instagram.
Yes.
That's why everybody's just being regulated.
Because the platforms are
liable.
They're liable for the content that's on there.
Yeah, so if there's any perception that it could be, related to acts that are of dubious legality in certain jurisdictions, such as porn. Porn is only very recently legal. Like, Nina Hartley went to jail for porn. It was very recently. And so, like, Measure B was a piece of condom legislation that only passed here in LA County. Only in LA County. So it's not statewide. Prop 60 would have essentially made Measure B statewide. So what you were talking about being on a kink set, and then having to offer you condoms, that's Measure B related. But also CalOSHA, the state board for governing health and safety, they don't have specific law, like regulations for us. It's just like, here are the regulations that are for a hospital if you're dealing with bloodborne pathogens.
Yeah, I remember directors talking about how they came and inspected his place and they were asking if they were using goggles for cum shots, like facials.
What?
Because that's how the language reads. It's just like, if you're dealing with a bloodborne pathogen, which is saliva, cum, tears, any kind of bodily fluids, you need to protect the workers on set from, getting contaminated by those bloodborne pathogens. Sure. How do you make porn though? Yeah. How do you make a mainstream movie with kissing in it? There's nothing in the language that allows for this kind of thing. So one of the pieces of work that I came down here to do initially was to try to get our recommendations for, like, hey, we came up with this as the trade association and like the people that this would affect. Here's a proposal. We want this one passed. And that didn't actually go through. But so like you said, we technically should be doing X, Y, and Z, just no one's checking up on it. It was kind of an agree to disagree. Like the standards board were like, okay, this is way more complicated than we understood. We've had hundreds of testimony from adult performers saying that we got it wrong. Please leave us alone. Like, that's essentially the outcome. It's just like, okay, all right, we're not gonna, you guys aren't wrong. Okay, please go home.
Hey, all you horn dogs, I'm Kira Noir.
And I'm producer Tyler.
And this is High and Horny, the show where we get porn stars really high and ask them a bunch of questions. Today, we have Siouxsie Q and Michael Vegas with us. Please subscribe to our YouTube and iTunes, and if you want to see us answer your fan questions, please become a patron on our Patreon. Yes, so here are some lighters.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to stay sober just so I can help guide us along.
Scandalous.
I love this. I'm so stoked that you're doing this.
I'm really happy that you're here. I have definitely seen both of you throughout the years a lot, and it means a lot to me that you would say yes and do this with me.
Of course. I jumped at the chance. I was like, really? She wants to podcast? Oh, and this like really brings me back. I started my podcast, The Whorecast, in 2012, and like a huge component was just like, all right, everybody sit down, let's smoke weed. Okay, now we're ready. Like it's
So we dedicated our podcast entirely to that.
yes, I love that. I mean, one of my like inspirations for podcasting was Kevin Smith, and that's like the Kevin Smith standard. We'll just like get high, turn on the
Well,
audio.
something I love about weed and like the culture is you sit around in a circle, you all have these deep conversations, and you pass a joint around. It's a very communal thing.
Yeah. And,
He's smoking weed, I feel.
oh yeah, Tyler is also
Yeah.
smoking weed
Cool,
back there.
cool.
Just so
Alright.
you guys
Very
already
high
know.
functioning. I can handle all of this.
Same.
I'm hoping that if we get to a certain amount of subscribers who really wanted me to get high, we might do an episode of Kira Gets High. But I get so nervous when I'm really stoned, and I
That's
wanted to
great.
be able to be like the host that knows where to steer things.
It sounds
Also-
like a good Patreon episode. That's what
Yeah, totally. And what have we learned from the thing that I didn't know going into porn? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. the thing that I didn't know going into porn is like, hold off, yeah, let's get curious. How much money are you guys gonna spend to see this one get high? Like, you know, don't do anal your first scene like some of
good.
us.
you did anal your first scene?
Not quite, but like
Too early?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I started doing amateur porn before I got into real porn, and my very first porn scene that I put out was me getting fucked in the ass with my husband. I didn't know that like
See?
waiting was a thing in
Yes,
porn.
me neither. Oh my god, thank you. I feel so seen. They don't tell you.
bless
No
them
one tells
all.
you that.
And then, so I eventually left my husband, got into real quote unquote porn, and then I was told like you need to stop, like wait until you do your first anal. I was also told wait until you do your first IR, and I was like, but
You're like, excuse
I'm
me.
black, and I've already, and this is like
What does
after I'd
that
already been
mean?
in for a while. I was like, I already
You keep
fucked a white
saying
guy.
that word. I
Like,
don't know.
how
And they're like,
am I
no,
gonna
I
work?
mean black guys. I'm like, well, that's not IR for me. I'm black. So people who don't know, IR is interracial.
Which actually only means
I thought it meant infrared.
yeah.
Infrared porn would be awesome.
That would be so cool. We should change the standard to be a big IR and
friend
infrared.
you'd never be able to
Infrared
tell
sauna.
who's what. Everybody's eyes would just be glowing in this like weird high contrast situation.
That'd be a really good Halloween video.
No, but it shows like body heat and stuff too. So like when you splooge, it'd be like
You can
purple.
watch the cum like cooling on the girl's face.
We gotta do this. Infrared porn.
Yeah, please
Flare,
do.
the like heat camera thing.
These are like, we've come a long way, baby. Like Virginia Slim style.
The
Yes.
pre-rolls.
I
Yeah.
was
what's
only
happening over
smoking
here.
these when Michael and I first started dating. I was like full princess pre-roll. I was totally the pre-roll princess. I was like, you know, I was smoking the ones that came in like the little Ed something, and not Ed Sheeran. That's someone else. Ed Sheeran, you should make a pre-roll pack. I think bitches would buy that. But I was like, I don't roll joints. Like I'm a princess. That's a boy's job.
Oh, wow.
And he was like,
So cute though.
that's over.
You gotta be careful. Some of these pre-rolls though, they got like fucking like wax and like hemp oil and like all you hit like
right,
you hit
they
it.
do.
Yeah, you hit it twice and you're like
Dude, those are great though. So I usually only
Slow
smoke right
birders.
before bed. And there was one night, one of my friends, so you know Donnie Sins, he gave me
Yeah.
a joint at that gangbang we did. Oh no, you weren't there. Never mind. Johnny Sins.
Johnny Sins was at a fucking
I was there in spirit.
You were there. In spirit.
Halloween or whatever the last upper floor thing. Folsom. The full where I fisted him on the
In a phone booth. The phone
and
booth?
also-
No, in a photo booth.
Yeah, they don't have phone booths anymore.
Yeah.
You're old.
But Donnie Sins has his own line of weed, and he gave me a joint. And like there was one day I was just having a totally awful day, and like as I was getting ready for bed, I was crying and super upset. And I smoked this joint for a little bit, and by the time I put the joint down, I was giggling, and then was like in the mood and got fucked, and I was like happy. And I woke up the next day like, wow, that was legit medicine for me that night.
is.
That
Thanks,
it
man.
completely changed my whole mood.
Yeah.
Thanks, weed.
I like to smoke when I'm hungover.
Yes.
It's the old that you can't not.
Yeah.
That's the only option. You have to smoke weed when you're hungover. I do.
The best way to get over a hangover.
Nausea. I really, I was taking PrEP for a while, pre-exposure prophylaxis. Truvada is the brand name. Which
For those who don't know, it's a prophylactic that helps prevent HIV.
Yep,
And it's like 80% effective.
99.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the upwards of 90. So it's like birth control for HIV. Pop one every day. So those of us that have unprotected sex for a living, you know, it's a good option, but it's super hard on the tummy. Super hard on the tummy. So I was puking all the time, and like this is the only way I got through with cannabis. It's so good. I use it for medicine, but also for parties.
I used to be a huge stoner. When I was a stripper, I would buy Mary Jane. But that was when I was
like, I didn't know you were a stripper.
Yeah, I was for 3 years in St. Louis.
Fuck yes.
So I used to be really into just like wake and bake, start my day off with a blunt. But that was when I was smoking dirt weed that was grown in Missouri. And people were lying to me like, oh yeah, I just got this shit straight from California. And then I came to California and saw this, like everyone lied to me. Liar.
That's what it's like when you go to France and drink the wine. You're like, I've had French wine before, and you're like, and it was piss. And it was literal piss. Those fucking they really keep all the good wine in France. They don't let it leave the country.
Do you guys remember the first time you got high?
I sure do. I was hanging out with my best friend Donovan and his brother Dustin at their dad's house, which was right across the street from where I grew up.
Big shout out to all the Donovans and Dustins.
Big shout out to Donovan and Dustin, brothers forever. Anyway.
Great 90s names.
We did a slight bit of underage drinking at that point, whatever sort of terrible bourbon we could get a hold of. And this is when GoldenEye on Nintendo 64 had just come out, right? Epic forever. So we got stoned and started playing some GoldenEye, and I just remember like, I just kept turning left, and I was watching the screen just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and I was just like, and finally I snapped out of it. I was like, okay. Gotta go to the bathroom. And then the next memory is I'm outside in the cold wearing my underwear, sitting in a lawn chair and sunglasses while it's dark and a beanie. Like,
yes.
Yeah, this is my life now.
cool. I'm cold. I'm gonna go back inside.
You went full blown into stoner culture like right away.
It's like, this is the way it should be.
Real hard. And like, God bless, I still fucking love GoldenEye. Like, turn left forever.
I was
Definitely Ashton, your water.
yeah.
You're good. I'll steal your water when I need it.
My mother, so my parents smoke weed, but they kept it a secret from me until I was 18. Like I knew, they knew, but it was like separate. Like we go into the laundry room after dinner, and you go to your room and talk on the phone with your fucking friends, and like we all live our lives, right? Which is why I guess my parents, when I was like, Mom, can I go to Berkeley with Jessica? She has a car, and we're gonna go see Gabby. You know Gabby, she's great, right? And Mom was like, yeah, sure, do whatever. Don't let your children go away in cars with girls that are lesbians, known lesbians. No, she was the first like lesbian my age that I met. She came out in 8th grade. Shots, Jessica Grubenchikoff, love you so much. But I was hopelessly in love with her. She was the first girl I met that wore Old Spice. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I was so into it. And so our friend Gabby lived in Berkeley. We lived in Monterey, like Central Coast, California, weird, isolated little town. We drove up to Berkeley and like got drunk on vodka with like Gabby's weird Russian fiance, and I smoked weed for the first. Like, hey, do you want to smoke this weed? I don't remember much after that. It was just a weird. Don't let your kids do that. Like if a 14-year-old's like, Mom, can I go to Berkeley with Jessica? No.
I was also 14, and I was a huge dork all through high school, but I had a cool boyfriend who went to a different school, so like I feel like that helped because you didn't see how much of a dork I was at school.
Yeah, but dork is the new cute. It's like adorkable. It's like
I get annoyed when I see the representations of like the dorky girls in high school movies because they're always like a really pretty girl and she's just wearing like not super trendy clothes.
I've always been attracted to dorks.
I mean, that sounds like you, though.
I had really messed up hair. I didn't know what to do with it. I was constantly trying to change it, so it was just weak and brittle and frizzy. And I was telling Tyler about this earlier. My family had a bunch of cats, and we never really fully figured out how to potty train them. So like, they pissed on everything. 3.
Shit.
I was ready for like an army of cats.
We have 2 cats at home.
No, we had 3 cats that pissed on everything, so I also smelled like cat pee all the time. And
Angel.
I was a very late bloomer, so everybody else around me started getting boobs, and I just still the same. So I was an awkward kid, but my boyfriend was cool, and he went to a different school, so like, I got to hang out with him and his friends. And some of his friends had these like, really cool parents that were okay with us having camping parties.
Oh yeah.
And so I had this friend.
Were those parents.
My boyfriend and all of his friends for the most part were Hispanic, and one of his friends' girlfriends was white. And I have a little sister who's only a quarter white, but she looks really pale with like naturally blonde hair. So I was able to convince my mom, hey, so this white girl, Emily, She's actually Hispanic, and like this is her mom, and like it was like the mom that was really chill. That was like one of the moms of one of the dudes. And we just pretended that was like Emily was her daughter.
Works.
And so she talked to my mom. Was like, yeah, we're just gonna have a sleepover, and it was like cool. And then we invited all the boys over, and we had a bunch of tents in the backyard. And somebody was able to call somebody else to get weed over, and we poked holes in a beer can. And use that as a kind of impromptu pipe.
Everybody smoked off aluminum at one point in their life.
Aluminum hurts.
Yeah, it was not pleasant. And I just remember coughing a lot and being really embarrassed about that. And then I was just like really thinking hard about how awkward I was, and I was just very zeroed in on how weird my body was, how lanky and how non-booby it was. and
Never get high as a teenager. You're just like, what if what if all the things I think are real?
Yeah, I was just thinking very critically about myself, just in this little hole. And then we started watching a movie, and everything was funny. And then I was laughing about the fact that nothing was funny, but it was funny anyway. Like that was funny to me.
Meta funny.
Meta funny, yeah.
And I didn't like it. I woke up the next day like I was just even more awkward than normal, and I wasn't into it. And then I didn't smoke again until I was 18 and I was stripping.
Nice.
And at first I went by Kira, and then when I started smoking more, I went by Mary Jane, and then I went back to Kira after I started putting more stuff online.
Weed was very incapacitating for me at first. I had to learn how to smoke weed in order to actually function. Like I remember trying to write a sentence one time, and I just sat there and I stared at the paper, and I just couldn't get it to come out of my hand, and it was like, it made me so mad. It made me not want to smoke weed anymore. But I was in a position where I was like, okay, it didn't matter anymore. I just had to smoke weed to protect life. And I did, and I finally I made it over the hump. I'm like, oh shit. Now I see what people have been talking about.
Yeah.
It takes a while. Sometimes it's an acquired taste.
It wasn't actually until I started podcasting seriously that I became like sort of an everyday stoner. I was just kind of a party stoner like through high school and college, even though I went to University of Oregon and Eugene, which is where the Eugene Glass School is. So somewhere out there in the ether, there is a photo of me like hitting a 3-foot bong in like someone's house in Eugene, Oregon. It's terrible.
Video for the archives.
There are so many old pictures of myself that I know are on Tumblr somewhere, but I can't log into that account, so I can't get them anymore.
So sad.
Yeah, Tumblr, you're dead to me.
R.I.P. Tumblr.
Yeah, it's so sad. We tried to. We're launching a hookup website.
Yes.
I was trying to pull some of the old content from his old blog on Tumblr, which is where really you were first able to like be open about butt stuff and like pegging.
Yeah,
that's where you were
totally.
posting stuff
That's
initially.
where the community was built. That's what gave me the confidence to move forward with launching PegHip.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, so Mr. Michael Vegas is the creator and main performer of peghim.com. Would you like to tell us more about that?
Yes, peghim.com, beautiful pegging and fisting content. Our slogan is Butt Sluts United.
It's like a team.
Yeah, it's all about people that just fucking love buttholes and doing cool things to them. I just got done shooting a scene with Sonny Harcourt and Siouxsie, and I got big rubber dicks put in my butthole, and I got fisted, and like brain off sensation, high orgasms, fantastic. But it's pegging content that's done in a manner that is an equal power exchange. I'm the one in charge, my butthole knows what it wants, and I'm gonna tell you to do something to me, just like I top other people in my life. I didn't become a bottom because I like my butthole touched. And so I top people to make them do what I want to my butthole. And Siouxsie Q over here knows how it operates pretty well, so sometimes I like literally can't think. I'm just you can see it in my face. I'm in an alternate dimension while I'm getting butt fucked. And so she can take the reins and help guide and like, oh yeah, he could do more. Like do this or try this. And, like,
I was looking up your
becomes
porn
teamwork.
comments on Pornhub. And
Yes.
Ooh,
so
yes.
There's really great ones under your pegging videos, and there's
my
one
God.
where
I'm so glad you pulled these up because we love these. We read them and we're just like, who is that guy? Fucking love that guy.
there's one that said that they thought it was great how much of a power bottom you are, and you actually commented back and you said power switch.
That's right.
What does that mean?
Hashtag power switch. Well, I turn some people on and I turn some people off. And it's really a play on words of I'm a switch. Like I'll bottom to the right person. I am bottoming when I'm being pegged, but I'm also topping.
Logistically,
But-
though, you know.
So power bottom would basically mean, please correct me if I'm wrong, like somebody who is receiving the penetration but is the one that's being the aggressor, the one that's in control. So power switch, switch would be someone who can do the being aggressive or being submissive. And if you can switch back and forth really well, and you would fully enjoy both of them. It's almost like being bi, like you can do either.
Totally.
Right. I could definitely, if somebody is really excited and wants to take the reins and tell me what to do if you're in the scene, like, I'm not going to say no. Like, no, don't tell me what to do. I'm going to be like, yes, see, you want it too. Let's fucking do that. Let's do that harder. More of that. Whatever you want, I'm in. I want this. So, like, let's fucking do it all. It's crazy. Crazy. Put your foot in there. No.
So something I wanted to talk to you about specifically, there is a stigma against straight porn actors when it comes to doing stuff with your butthole and doing anything that could be perceived as gay. Would you be willing to talk about your experiences with people finding out that you do this kind of content on your own?
Yes, well, and I did gay porn initially before I did any straight porn. And when I came into the straight side of porn, I was told that it was a pretty homophobic place. So I kept that hidden for as long as I can, which was not long at all.
When something's on the internet, you really have no control.
Right. And there are people that are hateful and want to destroy others' careers. It's just so I had that happen to me early on. But because of how I conduct myself and because of how I dealt with the situation and I didn't say no, I didn't. I didn't show shame around my actions because I wasn't ashamed of it. And it's like, I wanted to try being gay. That didn't work. So, cool.
I mean, that's the thing. People are like, when people say they're gay, the response is often like, well, you just haven't met the right girl or something. It's like, well, have you tried not being gay? Are you straight? I don't know. Have you tried? Have you tried being gay?
Yeah.
Are you sure you're straight? Did you check?
Yeah. So
You only know if you check.
I went for it. And not my thing.
You had to check.
Came back, started doing straight porn. People tried to destroy me. But survived that and in career thrived, and I would get encouragement from people in the business of hey, I like how you conduct yourself. I like that you're not ashamed of the things you've done. I like that this, and this. And because I'm always so open and honest, people have built trust with me to be a safe, trustworthy person to interact and do things with. And that is how I overcame that stigma surrounding that.
How did you find out that you like putting things in your butt?
When I was 16, God bless AOL chat rooms, I ASL'd with a bunch of people, and one of them was, for sure, a dude that was pretending to be a female, told me to touch my butt. So I was living the fantasy at the time, thinking this could be a real thing, and I was like...
He was committing a federal crime.
Yeah, so I was touching my butthole, jerking off at the same time. It's great. I mean, felt great, but I wasn't super into it. There's still this whole shame element that I had to overcome from having called people names if they touched your butt and just being a real piece of shit in general, doing it, and I had to overcome myself and all of those words that I had said before, and forgive myself for that, and then forgive other people for doing that, and know that it just comes from a weird fear-based place.
When someone hits your prostate, what's it like? Is it literally like a button and you just come right away, or
No, it was really going great earlier today.
It's like a G-spot. It's like a clit.
It's
So
it's you can feel there's a pressure inside of you, but it's as if somebody was perfectly when you start to feel that when somebody touches the outside of your dick and it makes you just kind of want to shudder. It's like that, but from the inside of your entire dick, and you're just and it radiates into your whole body, and it's just oh. So good.
that was a majestic explanation.
you often
So
say
good.
that you can feel you can feel it in the tip of your penis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's especially pressure buildup feeling toward the tip of the penis, that same rushing feeling when you're about to ejaculate that feels like a bunch of blood going to the head of your dick.
So when that happens and you're coming, it's probably pretty blissful.
Super great. Super
You
great.
can see it all at peghim.com.
That's what I like about pegging. It's different than what I normally get to do. I know a bunch of different ways to get a guy to come with my hands and my mouth and my ass and my pussy, but it's a totally different experience to be reaching inside of him instead, and trying to find that special spot. And it's just interesting. The first couple times I did it, it wasn't because I was super sexually attracted to the idea. I was just curious as hell. And then what turns me on about pegging is seeing the other person's reaction, seeing how into it they get. So I'm excited to be able to shoot with you on your site.
Well, it's going to be great. It's going to be really great.
Fun. Super fun.
And you have your own projects as well. So you have the Ill Repute podcast.
Yes.
And you also have the Whorecast.
Yes. So I started the Whorecast in 2012, and it really became an important tool like during the No Prop 60 like campaign. It was started because I knew I like wanted to do something more than just vote. You know, I wanted to reach an audience that cared about like issues of the adult industry. So I haven't updated it since June of last year because it reached this apex that I felt really, really proud of. I worked with the ACLU and a bunch of other sex worker rights organizations to draft these like articles of anti-criminalization, you know, sort of a declaration of sex worker independence of sorts. And we did it at the ACLU. It was just like, it felt like this huge, you know, so that's kind of on a shelf for now because my focus has shifted. I'm continuing to do activism, but I'm not as interested in broadcasting it. You know, I've gotten there, you know, and like it's not, it's changed for me. So, but you can definitely check it out. Thewhorecast.com is still has a wonderful archive of I've interviewed sex workers from all over the world, from all different walks of life. Annie Sprinkle and Nina Hartley's on there. Like I'm really proud of it. I did it for many years. But last year, I started a podcast with Sovereign Sire, who is incredible. I love her so much. I've had a crush on her for so long. Like, I remember seeing a picture of her. Like, we started porn around the same time. And I remember I saw this, like, brunette with, like, big, pretty lips and eyes, like, wrapped in an American flag. And I was like, who the fuck is this bitch?
So how did you approach her to do the podcast? Like,
She approached me.
Oh.
She approached me. We actually... God bless Mind Control Theater. I don't know if you've shot for them.
No, I haven't.
Love Christoph.
Oh, they would love you.
They would love you. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're a great actor. I will recommend. We'll put it in words. But yeah, oh my God. So I've shot for them a couple times, and they booked us, me and Michael and Sovereign, all together to do a shoot, and we had a fucking blast. You know, I think Sovereign and I got booked for something else together, or she had me on her podcast. I had her on my podcast around the time of the SESTA vote. You know, and she's not apolitical, but she's a little apolitical. You know what I mean? So she kind of pokes fun at me for being a diehard activist, advocate. And I poke fun at her for being a fucking snobby intellectual. Like, you know, but I love it. We really have a fun dynamic together. You know, we approach things from sort of just the right side of each, you know, coin, and we're both big history nerds. So she was doing a podcast called Observations, which is it's on an archive, but she basically sacrificed her RSS feed and was like, let's do a podcast together. Let's do a history show, like have it be like My Favorite Murder, but with hoes throughout history.
Yes.
So,
What are some of your other favorite podcasts?
Oh God.
Ooh, binge mode.
Love Binge Mode right now.
Binge mode is
What's that?
Is my jam.
It's a nerd podcast. So there is another podcast on thewhorecast.com called Winter is Coming on Your Face, which is it was a brief project where I interviewed sex workers about the nerd stuff they were into, and also my other partner, Sam Solo, who runs girlbullies.com, he has been a diehard Game of Thrones expert since he was like 12. Like he was the smallest boy with the biggest books, George R.R. Martin in 1997 in Texas, you know? Like, so every week we would get together, we'd watch the show, and then I would like ask him questions, and he would sort of school me about like, okay, here's what you don't know. Like they cut out this whole part with the Grandmaisters, and here's what the Grandmaister College is like, and all that shit. So if you're into nerd shit, check out Winter is Coming on Your Face. But Binge Mode was actually Jason Concepcion is one of our inspirations for starting Winter is Coming on Your Face. And he's the host of Binge Mode with this other girl, and they talk about nerd shit. And right now we're listening to the Harry Potter series.
Yep, you sold it to me. I'm doing that.
It's so good.
Oh my God,
It's a deep dive into each chapter of the book. He hasn't read the books. I've read the books.
I've never really done a deep dive like this on anything as intensely as they go into it, and like they cover everything.
So good.
Like they've looked up
Yeah.
websites and they've talked to
all the shit on Pottermore. Like
they talk
every
to
episode
Rowling
is
and they've
spoiled
talked to-
rotten. It's
Yes.
all
it's
inclusive.
really incredible. And then they go over the movies and they go over like there's a whole episode on Quidditch and like a league that got started, like a real Quidditch league.
Yeah. I love the fact that people actually started doing it. Like
It's so good.
It must be so difficult when you can't actually fly, but like it's
And you
it's
still have
so
to have a
cool.
broom.
Yeah.
You still have to have a broom.
Have you guys heard of the podcast called Mormon and the Meth Head?
No.
that
It's
sounds
it's
great.
fascinating. So
Yeah.
it's two comedians, Jessa Reed and Aaron Woodall, and one of them used to be like a Mormon and like a diehard Mormon. Like hadn't seen like a rated R movie till he was like 30 or something, or like late 20. I don't know how old he is. But it's just them talking about. And then one of them, the female, used to be really addicted to meth, and they talk about how her giving up her addiction to meth was kind of similar to like him leaving his religion. And
Totally. I love that.
oh,
That
it's
sounds awesome.
super duper fascinating. She tells this story about like how she used to drink her own pee because meth is like water.
I've heard that.
You've heard that bit?
I've
Wow,
heard
she
that
would
bit.
try to get re-high, she'd drink
Yeah.
That's the
yes.
bit that got me into the podcast. And like one of the
Memphis,
episodes
yeah.
is him trying LSD for the first time on the
Oh, I've heard that.
podcast.
I have heard that. I heard
It's-
that on something else.
It's so good.
Oh, so wonderful.
So all of our viewers and listeners, subscribe to Mormon Method.
I also, for history nerds, so Ill Repute, we talk about different hosts throughout history. We just did Anne Bonny and Mary Read, the infamous female pirates.
Yes!
That were
Those ones that cleaned their bellies and they got
Yes!
Yes!
Yes! Oh my god, yeah. They were like, no, you can't kill me. I'm pregnant. How about it? How about it? Like, no. And like one of them did die in prison, which wasn't great. But the other girl, we actually don't know. She like Amelia Earharted, that she disappears from the historical record. She like drove off into the fucking sunset. I know. So, but history podcast that I listen to and love is You Must Remember This with Karina Longworth. It's so good.
Yeah.
She has a 12-part series on the Manson family that is so good.
That was
She's like an
incredible, too.
intersectional feminist. She's just like a little nerd. She does all the voices. Sometimes she hires other people to do the voices. They're no better. Just I do all the voices, Karina. Like it's not worth it. But yeah, it's really good. That's my other favorite.
One of my favorite Twitter accounts is Horrors of Yore.
Yeah, I love
Which is
that
why
one.
like, I really want to be on the LRQ podcast.
Oh,
'cause I
please,
love
yes.
reading about how sex workers ended up surviving. And because like, I feel like even though things are really bad for us now, this is the best time to be any sort of
Always.
minority. Like best time to be black, best time to be a woman, best time to be a sex worker.
Yeah.
Based on what has happened before. So whenever I hear these stories of women who become pirates and
Yeah.
just like kill and fuck everything,
Yeah.
and they made it so it was okay for them, or women who couldn't say outright that they were prostitutes, but kind of everybody knew. And there's other times in history where like courtesans are okay, and they're just they're escorts.
Yeah.
We do the same thing now. Where it's like you have the girlfriend experience of dudes. Like everybody would know that they were having sex for money, but they still were kind of this weird, protected kind of not
Like
class.
Melania Trump, I don't know, like a weird protected class of sex workers that everyone knows is a sex worker, and like no, but I mean like Empress Theodora was the fucking empress of the Byzantine Empire, and like she had half of it, and she like had a say in the way our like Western religion went moving forward. Constantine was just like, yes, you, only you, and she was just like the best hoe that there was.
Yeah, and
she.
something else that I think is really awesome about sex workers is that like the heart of every civilization that was considered great, there were sex workers. The West in America was essentially settled by women because guys would come in here just to go to work in the West. They would just have these towns that just had the bare essentials, and then women would come up and they would start brothels, and then they would use that money that they got from the brothels to set up schools, to set up nicer shops, they like would spread their wealth around the town and make like bustling cities instead of just work camps.
Do you imagine what the states could make in taxes if they legalized and taxed sex work?
Yeah, they do. For the like we get taxed for being in porn. And then there are other people who, they might be escorts and they might be underreporting their income, but they're still paying taxes because it's still obvious they're making some money.
Yeah, you have to justify it. You can't just.
Right.
So that we are being taxed, but they would make even more money from us if it was more.
But we are
regulated.
not being represented,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate.
There's this concept in politics, like the only kind of whore is the sad trafficked victim that needs you to speak for her.
Yeah, that's how we got sussed up.
Yeah, and they don't really want to listen to anybody who doesn't fit that narrative because it's almost like,
Sorry.
oh,
Hi.
this is Kate. It's your his wife.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Perfect phrasing.
The same thing is happening in India right now. I found out, like, I don't know if it's if they're going at it in the same respect, but there's a big piece of legislation that's on the rise that's designed to fight trafficking, and sex workers are saying no, it's going to make it worse. Just like what's going on over here.
What is this?
A law that's really similar to SESTA, at least in practice, like designed to fight trafficking, like trying to do something about exploitation in the adult industry. Like, don't get me wrong, that's shitty. That shouldn't be happening. But the only reason it's able to happen is because of the criminalization, because I can't just like pick up the phone and be like, hey, my agent like won't let me leave unless I give him 30% for some reason and he has a gun. Like, can someone come get me? Like it should be that easy as opposed to like, well, what's going on here? Let's see your phone, which is like literally what happens when you call the cops right now. No matter if you're in porn, no matter if you're a stripper, like, and in I forget how many states, but like the majority of states, cops can have sex with people that they detain.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Whenever they're doing a sting operation where they're trying to prove that you're the type of person who would accept money for sex, they can follow through with having sex with you, and then they can arrest you.
Isn't that entrapment?
No.
No.
Entrapment's not really a thing.
No, entrapment is when they like, put you out they make it so you get arrested. They set a trap for you. But no.
But
you can have sex with people that you detain in most states. A couple states have passed legislation banning that. Hawaii, I think. Alaska, I could be wrong. California is definitely one of them, though.
But basically, cops can also, like, I've heard stories of cops going into strip clubs and raiding them, and then...
Oh, it happened when we were fucking Stormy Daniels.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
We got fucking Stormy Daniels.
He was there. Michael Vegas was there when Stormy Daniels got arrested.
She's suing the Ohio police officers for doing that now.
Can we say that? I'm not sure if we should.
No, it came out in the news. That's all I know.
Would you mind talking about that? So basically, Stormy was going through her tour with strip clubs, where she was making appearances at different strip clubs across the country. At a lot of these things, touching isn't really allowed, but if both parties are okay with it, there might be like motorboating involved, things like that. So wasn't
Talk about entrapment.
So cops came up and they gave her a tip, and she motorboated them, or she let them motorboat her, and then they arrested her.
So, you go from place to place, you try to find posted rules, you try to see what's going on. The owners are supposed to give you the rundown of like how you should be doing and interacting with the thing, and nobody said there was not a no touching rule or any sort of rule like this. And when she was doing her thing, the owner's wife was there, or girlfriend or whoever she was to him, the one he claimed as his partner, was there making Stormy Daniels like put money in her tits with their mouth. Like, she did it, she set the tone, and other people followed suit. So like, why would she think she's doing anything wrong? Nobody said anything. Nobody said like, when she did it, the owners didn't say, hey, you can't do that, don't do that next time.
They're the ones that started it.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, we have to understand, it's like, there was no complaint, like nobody called the cops and was like, you have to get in here, she's motorboating people in the front row, like it's a thing. There were cops in the front row that were undercover that had come up to me and already like talked to me about like how much they loved her and blah blah blah, and like that they were big fans, and those were the people that arrested her.
I didn't know that you were there too.
Yeah.
I was registering people to vote I came out for like a week and a half on the tour. But yeah, it was terrifying. It was absolutely fucking terrifying. And like, regardless of what did or didn't happen, like, sex workers got arrested for doing their job. 2 other girls were arrested. Their names were printed in the paper. Whoa. Like, the first girl that I registered to vote there, she was like, I've never voted before. Like, but please, please keep my legal name private. I was like, oh God, like of course. Like, we put our legal names every time we go to set, but your boss is the only person that should see like a W-2, and like since you get paid in tips, you can be a stripper and remain anonymous in a way that you can't when you deal with the internet, right? So she was very dubious of this like girl coming in with Stormy Daniels and like a form for her to fill her legal name, and I was like, I promise you, like this will stay between you and me and the like Office of Elections, like, well, that's it. She's like, okay. And she was one of the girls who got arrested, and her name was in the fucking paper.
Oh, God, that's horrible.
Yeah, so, like, that's what, even legal sex work, even stripping, even porn, like, you know, we're talking about Measure B and Prop 60 and all these ways that they try to criminalize the industry, even though, like, even the parts of it that are legal, which is why we don't talk about legalized sex work, we talk about decriminalized sex work. Just, like, stop arresting us for doing our jobs. That would be awesome. That'd be great. Stop taking away our rights and denying us our rights because of what we do for a living.
You know, I was talking to Tyler earlier about why sites like Backpage being taken down is so harmful for sex workers, and what people will understand about how, like, why girls go to pimps. Because there's this really cemented image of whoever's with a pimp who's kidnapped and trafficked and being held at gunpoint to do these things. And all that does happen. I'm not trying to make that seem like it doesn't happen, that it's not that bad. A lot of the times what's happening when a girl has a pimp, it's because she doesn't know where to find clients. She doesn't have that network, that list of names to call, like, this guy likes this stuff, and this guy likes this stuff, and this guy goes for this girls. And that's what a pimp is for. They find the guys for you. And sometimes a pimp can be nice. A lot of times they aren't, because they know that if they do something wrong to you and you go to the cops, they're going to treat you like a criminal too, because you're a sex worker. So Backpage helped a lot of people because they were able to screen for clients on their own. And once that was taken away, they started getting hit up by their old pimps again, because they were saying, like, okay, well, you can't screen and get guys on your own, so now you need me again, don't you? And that ended up hurting people a lot more than it ended up helping people. Yep. But because they didn't want to hear about the women who didn't fit their narrative of a sex worker, they went through with it.
Well, I think it's funny that everyone has this perception of what a pimp is, but you all...
I am an ass.
So I have a bong here. His name is Richard Bong.
He puts a lot of stuff in his ass, but he never sucks dick. So, like, this is great. Sorry, I know we're on a very somber note.
Right now.
Cesta.
For people listening right now, Michael is smoking out of a bong that is shaped like a giant, enormous, veiny penis.
I love it.
But giant balls, too. Don't forget the balls.
The balls are really extraordinary. I mean, you want a good base. This would be like, sir, like, have you gone to check it? Has a doctor looked at this, sir? You know, it's a little inquisitive.
I would say, like, that's like Lucas Frost size balls almost.
No, Lucas, you have
I love his balls.
Fine.
I love, like, they're really easy to find. I'm always trying to grab the guy's balls when he's fucking me. Like, it's really easy for him.
Nice. Some more water, is that?
I am excited about the Pornstar Kira Noir stuff.
Oh yeah, okay, so we can go into that next.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, wait for me to do that, but
Yes.
we'll do that in a second.
So what I really love the celebrities read mean comments thing, but I didn't want to have people only read the mean comments. Sometimes people can be really brutal on porn videos. So I went ahead and just looked at your most viewed videos on Pornhub, and I also used a couple of comments from mine because I just had some that I wanted to have people read out loud. I took screenshots of them, so whenever Tyler is ready, we're going to bring out my phone and show you guys those. And if you could please say it in the format of so-and-so says, and then the comment.
Okay.
Really, really nice.
Great. So we can put screen names in there. Awesome.
Because I'm hoping that eventually somebody will be listening to this podcast or watching it on YouTube.
Thank you so much.
And they recognize one of their important comments.
That would be such a beautiful moment if we could make that happen.
Alright, so we're going to move on to something a little bit lighter. We're going to start with the porn stars read your porn comments.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I'm going to open up screenshots on my phone. Yes. And, okay, wait. Let me delete some stuff because I had another thing that I screenshotted. Okay, delete that. That was in the middle of looking at stuff. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to start with you.
Yes.
Golden Babe X says, oh my god, maybe I'm in the wrong category, but I fucking love it.
That was definitely under one of your peg.
Yes, maybe I'm in the wrong category.
But it's cool.
Yes. Okay, here we go. Casey215 says, fuck, if only that was my dick and fist you were bouncing on. Hot videos as always. I don't mind you with women, but I really enjoy your solo stuff. I can watch you work that hole for hours. Casey215. Hit me up, bro. I love bonding with Nicole's gay fans. Yes.
Peachy Hole says, shit, that's unreal. That gape, I loved it.
You do have a very impressive gape.
Thanks.
My
it's
butthole,
beautiful.
it will accept things in there, but it does not stay open for very long. Yeah, I've tried so many ways. Like I can get there eventually, but it takes me a long time. It takes me a while to stay open. So I love your game.
Ah, thanks. I can tell you the secret one day if you want.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
You know, one of my best friends is Anna DeVille. Have you met her?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, she's a butthole that's made for porn.
Yes.
She's this crazy tiny girl. She is a little bit weird, but I don't mean like crazy insane. I mean like in a good way. But she has this butthole that's shaped like a heart whenever there's not anything in it. And then it opens up so quickly. Whenever I first moved in with her, she asked me to help her shoot a fisting video. Mm-hmm. And I figured like, okay, yeah, it'll be 15, 20 minutes of you fisting yourself and like trying to get up there. But she was just like in seconds, whoop, like her hand all the way up her butthole. It was just ready for it.
Wait, Michael, what's the secret?
To gaping?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Relaxing. Mm-hmm. And having worn out your muscle by having squeezed on something bigger and bigger each time. Mm-hmm. And
so you have to squeeze on it?
You have to really squeeze on it at like the biggest part that you can. Mm-hmm. Then you have to take a deep breath. And at that point, since you've let all the air out, you can sit down further onto whatever it is that you're using to stretch. Right? And then at that point, you try to stay there as long as you can and not have to be like, fuck, too much. Okay? Like you're just pushing that point the whole time. So when you learn to love that stretch feeling and you can like really clamp down on something that's like an isometric contraction where like your butthole's not getting anywhere but it's still tensing. When you take something out after you have gotten into a position where your guts can shift lower than your butthole. So
are you serious about that?
Yeah.
Like your actual insides are moving around?
Well, like gravity pulls them forward and the relaxation of your abdomen allows your colon to just have like no tension around it. Nothing's like being crunched, nothing's being smashed. And that allows like to happen because your butthole relaxed and like air goes in. Lots and lots and lots of air goes in.
Right.
And so when you just like, normally we're fighting letting air going in because it makes us fart a lot.
Yeah, I was about to ask.
And you just have to learn to accept that's part of gaping and doing all this crazy anal stuff. And so when like practice letting air go in and then stay there as long as you can. Like try to not move, it's like a very meditative thing of just like trying to absolutely relax your butthole because it's the opposite of what we have been doing our entire lives.
Transformative.
And so it's fun because like in doing this and in squeezing your butthole down on these things, you're actually creating a really, really strong muscle. Okay, you're training your butthole strength-wise.
So it's the opposite of what most people
It's
would
the
think.
opposite of what most people think. In order to have a big, old, gapey butthole, you have to have an extremely strong butthole. Because just like doing yoga, you can't do the splits unless you have strong legs, right?
Yeah.
You can't relax your butthole into this crazy shape unless you had muscles that are confident enough to go, yeah, okay. Our skeleton will be fine if we relax.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Wow. Doing.
All right, let's smoke and then go into this segment here.
Okay. Should I say it?
Oh wait, I already had them reading stuff. I thought you were ready.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
my bad. No, I'm sorry. We got off there.
Oh man. So Horse Code says, I have some big dildos, but fucking hell, that is a big dildo. I love it so much.
Bunky Town. Always thought he was beautiful, but now he's a sex god.
It's true.
It really is.
I've been promoted. That's pretty cool.
One of the most sex god things you did, we've shot together twice, and one of them was a video where he was a yoga instructor, and he was doing yoga moves while fucking me.
That is why I'm
fantastic.
here. Yeah.
Do you actually do yoga, I presume?
Yes.
When forced.
I do not practice often enough, but I do practice yoga, and it is good for your heart and soul.
It's probably also
And
good.
body.
Yeah, probably also good for your job.
Yeah. My yoga mantra is I'm healing my body by strengthening it.
Important. So I'm embarrassed to say this. Little Sexy Teen 69. Oh my god. I don't know how I feel about that.
Original.
I'd love to be gangbanged by baseball players. They are always so hot. They can have their bats in my batter's box all day. That's where we met.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was the first time I met good old Siouxsie Q. It was her first gangbang and my first gangbang.
Oh,
I met my boyfriend during a gangbang too. That's awesome.
It's so sweet time.
Wait, no, okay, pause with this for a second because I want to hear more about this.
Okay, yeah, totally.
So, like, were you nervous about your first banging? Yeah, bang.
Yeah, man.
You're not even smoking weed.
I know,
man.
I'm getting contact. I always do.
It was
So.
for Kink.com, and I do that they hire professional people. There's a lot riding on gangbangs, and it's an expensive shoot, which is why they hire people that they know can do them. I didn't know I could do it. So it's just like,
Not 100%.
it's really tough. So it's like, do I show up? Because like I have a really sensitive dick. I have to keep a regular ejaculation schedule, so I'm not just like jizzing in my pants uncontrollably.
I love it.
So I was like, okay, like, do I jerk off? It like be a little less sensitive, so I know I could do this because like I think it's really hot. And, like I don't want to come too soon, or like do I just go like full fucking rage or crazy? Anyway, we got there. I don't remember what I decided, but I was just excited to see that I had finally made it to this level of like professionalism that kink hires, and I was just like, all right, I've got to do great. And so one of the things that I really like about doing gangbangs is seeing the girl's face. It's fantastic. I can only imagine what's going on in her head. There's a lot of shit going on. As an observer, she's like this guy's ready to fuck her face. This guy is fucking her face. This guy who's the anchor down here just lays there like a stone with an erection and like.
Tell us what an anchor is.
The anchor's the dude who's the guy on bottom that just has to be able to maintain a boner through all sorts of crazy shit happening around him.
Whenever you're watching a gangbang and they're in the reverse cowgirl position,
like,
and there's a guy in her pussy and a guy in her butt, and there's a guy in his hand and a guy in her mouth, the guy that's on the bottom
I can't.
of all of
I was
that.
trying to make a diagram, but I can't make a gangbang out of these.
It's
Well,
really
maybe the ashtray.
Maybe here. Let me try it. Okay.
It's more of an audio thing anyway. So
So the guy in the bottom is the anchor because he has to have a hard, strong dick through all of that, and he's kind of the one that's like pulling everything together because to make it a gangbang, you have to have a certain amount of people fucking all at once.
5 or more.
And sometimes if everybody's moving all at once, nothing's really syncing up well. So the anchor has to be able to be like still and still keep his heart on the whole time.
it's like a symphony of cock and pussy.
It really is. It's pretty.
It's very much a team sport.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It, like you learn to do gangbangs with your gangbang buddies, and it's just like, all right, guys, we know how to do this. Like she has no idea what's gonna happen, basically, but we do, and that's how you do a gangbang. Girl's not in charge. It's all of these dudes who are coordinating these efforts of like, dicks go here. I'm gonna stay here and up for camera. You're down there. You're doing your job. This is here. I come around and like I say weird things in her face to get strange reactions.
Now, is a lot of it just kind of just standing around
Standing
masturbating?
around masturbating. Yeah, a lot of it.
So you got to get your
You also have to
mind-
be cool with standing around a bunch of dudes fucking, or just jerking off. Like,
And penises are going to touch.
dicks touch.
Yeah, that's the best part.
I haven't done a double anal gangbang yet, but I've done a double anal foursome, and I really loved that. Like the two dicks moving at once inside is pretty cool. But I can only do it with the ones that are uncircumcised because that extra skin helps so much. I tried getting the third one in there that wasn't circumcised, and it was not budging. And like one guy came out to see if he could do double anal with me, and it didn't work. So. I need to have a gangbang with all uncircumcised men, so I can see if I can get the double anal DP in there while I have one in each hand and or one in the mouth, one in the hand.
Susie, what do you like about multiple cocks?
Everything.
You said you specifically like them touching. You said that's your favorite part.
Because it's so okay. I am a pretty gay person. I realized I liked women around like 14, and I was always really attracted to like effeminate men. Like my first kiss, from a boy, was like a boy who had done drag, and like he was older than me, all these things. So I've always like been attracted to like queer culture and been queer myself, I guess. Dated women and trans folks and all that stuff. So yeah, like, and there's a lot of like, I love a coercive gay situation. I've shot for Straight Boys Fucking just once, which is a site that we actually did a gangbang. The next time we did a gangbang together was in New York for Treasure Island Media, which is a gay company, and they were shooting a gangbang where like it wasn't really about me, it was about all these dudes being together in the same room, being like, yeah, bro, fuck her. It's just like it's gay, I love it. I just love it that it's gay. And I love it that it's like gay but not gay.
Yeah, there's
like
definitely a
fiercely
market
not gay,
for
just like sports.
Yeah, it's like the straight dudes, but it's like it's gay porn.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about that, Mike. You said you started in gay porn. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a little bit about that? Like, why did you decide to make the transition?
So I started doing gay porn because I just had a bunch of horrible female experiences in my life, and I wanted a safe environment to be able to explore my sexuality, where somebody wasn't like, it's like forbidden to fall in love with this dude, right? Because like I wasn't trying to fall in love with the dude. That didn't sound like what I needed, but like maybe try out some gay sex so I could just
check,
like, you know, try it out, yeah, give it a shot.
There's not a lot of containers where that's appropriate.
And you went into it already knowing you like things. Had you been with a man before you started gay porn?
No, I had not.
Oh, so your first time was on set?
First time was on set.
What was that like?
It was weird and tense, and I was super nervous, but like I was excited to try it. It's just something exciting in life.
Was that your first porn?
That was my first porn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did you know right away that you'd want to be a bottom because you already knew you liked things in your butt?
No, I was really tense. I was like, I just super anally retentive. I could not relax my asshole. And it's because I don't like male sexual energy directed closely at me.
Who does?
I like
I
like penises. I like dick-shaped things, and I like things going in my butt, but I don't want that from a man. I want it from a female entity, female energy. So transitioning over.
Yeah.
I had, at that point in time, I had like a failed marriage, and I had gone through fire academy and gotten a job as a firefighter, and had a motorcycle accident and had a life-changing experience, and then got like married and divorced. And I just needed to heal myself psychically and mentally and go do something that was cool. I always wanted to be an actor, and I wanted to make movies, and I wanted to like be cool, like go do cool things and play cool guys, because like, you know, I felt like the cool guy. So I came to porn, and like I also wanted a place where it was, again, safe to have sex with these people that were like, seemed like the type of people I wanted to be having sex with. And they weren't going to be falling in love with me. Like I wasn't trying to have a bunch of relationships. I was trying to have great fun sex with beautiful people in cool scenarios and situations on camera, because that was a fetish of mine. And like, just make some porno. I like porno.
Yeah.
So,
I just wanted to get
Oh yeah.
few more
yes.
of these
Oh my god,
comments.
please.
Oh yeah, I forgot we were still doing that.
Yeah, baseball tangent. It all comes back to Michael's butthole.
We'll move on to fan questions here in a minute, but let's finish this up.
Zoo 90. This is beyond porn. This is art. So erotic and fluid. Bravo. A masterpiece. 16 chapel of porn.
Yeah, that's why I went Italian there towards the end.
What is that for?
That was for one of my videos that was directed by Brooke Candy. It's basically just an art piece that just so
Nice.
happens to have sex in it.
Okay. 16 chapel of porn. I love it so much.
That was the last one.
That is
That was pretty good.
that is the new standard for which I will strive to. The 16 chapel of porn.
If you haven't seen it, I think you'd really like it.
I'm sure I
It's
would.
very gay.
love
It
gay.
starts with just a solo tease of Siouxsie Kira, and glitter comes out of her asshole, and then it's me and Bella Danger doing this kind of dream, almost 60s hair bun styles kind of thing.
yes.
Just like very lovey-dovey girly sex, and then it's Venus Lux, I want to say, and another trans girl doing it was like a glory hole, but the screen in between them was clear, so they could see each other, and they're like kind of like touching each other through the
that
glass.
sounds so hot.
Really hot. And then there was a gay scene at the end with Remy LaCroix, I think I want to say, and another man. And so it was like, it's a very queer, very artsy,
Sounds great.
very dream-like state kind of porno. And I really liked being a part of it.
Nice, that's awesome.
I think you'd be super into it.
16 Chapel of Porn.
Before we move on to Patreon stuff,
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about just your guys' relationship and your experience being in a relationship in the adult entertainment industry. I always like to sort of start with, like, what are your rules as a couple? Like, would you consider yourself open, polyamorous, or how would you guys describe your relationship?
Ooh, I believe that we are in a polyamorous relationship. We are in it's like a polytriad, but I don't know what like the actual term is. We're
A
like,
throuple.
I don't, like, her other partner, Sam Solo, is like, oh hell, it's like great friend and great buddy, and like I would be there for him in any way that I could. And he has his relationship with Siouxsie Q that is just super great and beautiful, and like I just want that to thrive and do well, and like.
Whenever I was in a triad like that, I used to tell people I'm in a V, not a triangle.
Yeah.
It's like there's one person, there's two partners, and we're both with that one
Right.
partner, but doesn't mean it's all coming together at the same time.
Right, but there's like a rainbow going between the V.
Yeah.
Right?
Very sweet. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
The thing that like really made me like kind of get serious about Michael, because it's like, you bring your when you get serious with a partner, you bring them to meet your parents in like a monogamous context, right? You really like want to be sure, but like you want. Sam's a huge part of my life, like, and so like the first time that you guys had actually, he had been at the gangbang that we did for Treasure Island. Like Michael and I had known each other for years, and therefore he'd known Sam for years too, but more peripherally. But we all did a shoot for the upper floor for Halloween last year, I think, and Sam and I were already booked for it. Michael got swapped in last minute, which happens, with male talent all the time, and so he got flown down. Like I was already up in San Francisco for Halloween. I was teaching a class, something edibles. I don't know. I was driving to San Francisco. I just moved down here. It was still pretty new. And we did the shoot, and then we like went and got burritos afterwards. And Michael had a hotel room, and he had a flight home too, like, 'cause it was a total last minute thing. But he chose to like come back to Sam's place and sleep in this like tight, a queen size bed, just like and like watch movies in a closet. And like Ruckus came over at one point. We all smoked weed, and then like drive home with me the next day in my Mini Cooper. And I was like, you like me, and you can kick it with the people who are important to me, which is Sam. He's like my brother, best friend, boyfriend. We've been together. I've been with him the longest I've been with anybody, and he still lives in the Bay Area. So we've been long distance now for 2.5 years, the whole time I've been here. I know, and I've kind of come to terms with like he's probably gonna like remain a sigil in the Bay Area. We've never lived together. Like I was engaged and married to another partner. So like we've gone through a wedding together. He's gone through a divorce with me, a career change. And the way he came to me, the way he came like into my life, he approached me because he had an idea. He knew that the only way to get me to date him was to ask me for a business meeting. And he pitched me an idea to do a podcast about like the subculture of wrestling, Ultimate Surrender and that kind of stuff. And we just got drunk on mimosas, and I was like, I think I'm in love with you. And it's been like, we've been partners in crime ever since. Our relationship can best be described as like, if I'm the president, he's my chief of staff. So he's coming to visit for Valentine's Day / President's Day, which is our Valentine's Day. And yeah. And then Michael has a lot of sex with everyone for peg him, but it's like, it's a really important part of his heart and sexuality and butthole to like have that be a thing, and like, when you asked about rules, it's like, in my experience, it's like, rules are kind of a trap. The one rule is like, don't lie, don't cheat, like it's the same rules like monogamy. I feel like it's like, don't.
So can you go into more detail about don't cheat? Because most people who are in a monogamous relationship, they would think that any sort of sexual or emotional thing with another person would be cheating. So how do you cheat in an open poly relationship?
If you're not being open and honest about your feelings about it, like
I meant them synonymously. Like, don't lie, don't cheat. They're the same.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
so-
I see. That's what.
So if
to
you lie
cheat
about a
means.
sexual
Yeah.
encounter, that's cheating.
yeah, if I was trying to hide anything from her, like
Just
she
like in
would.
cards, like what does cheating mean?
Yeah.
You know, you have a card up your sleeve.
You're hiding your
not
hand.
playing
I've
by the
been-
rules, right? Which the only rule is don't lie.
I've been trained by my family and by people my entire life that they say you can tell me anything, I won't be mad, and I won't punish you for it. Is really what they're trying to say. And she's the only person that I have ever actually really believed operates that way of like, you can tell me anything, you can tell me all about yourself, and all of it's okay. You just have to tell me. It's just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's the game I've been wanting to play and been trying to play too, and like somebody that isn't gonna punish me for it. So like I don't have to hide because it's like if I'm getting punished either way, yeah, of course I'm gonna fucking lie. Like,
Yeah.
what sort of rules do you think? Like, I want to be better than you at this game. Like you're trying to punish me, and I'm trying to not get caught. That's what you want to play. I'm great.
And I think that like one thing that in terms of rules, it's just like we do have like values, I think, in our relationship.
Yes.
Like one of them is like I don't fuck with people who don't have that same rule. You know what I mean? So it's like I was dating a girl, oh god, this girl. So okay, like a Desiree Alliance, which is this amazing sex worker conference. It's like 200 plus sex workers gathering at like you know, like the Alexis Park, like across the street from the Hard Rock, like still in like a familiar territory, but
Yeah.
like the spa area, and like in August when it's actually warm and like nice, and just like a little cute convention. Like, it had to be canceled because of fucking Sesta Fosta, but hopefully it will return one day when things are better. But anyway, so I'm like at this pool party and I meet these like two like strippers with PhDs that are like, you know, doing like incredible research on labor, and like I kissed one of them and I was like, oh, you're straight, okay. And then I just, you know, okay, well this was lovely. And then I turned and I was like, oh, you are not straight. She's very gay. So gay and so pretty, and like there was all this like fake hair in her room, and she had like the but anyway, she was married, or she was like engaged, you know, and she was committed to a partner, and she was like, well, we have a don't ask, don't tell, and I'm like, okay, is that true? And I just like I couldn't be sure, and so I'm like, if you're lying to the person that you've said you're not gonna lie to, like, who the fuck am I? Like, this is not gonna go well for me. Like, I'm new here. No, man.
Right? Like,
So it's like
I don't want to help anybody else lie. I don't want to help anybody else
Yeah.
break rules. I don't want to be an enemy in somebody else's story.
Yeah.
I don't want bad juju put on me, or like I'm a very sensitive person. I feel when people think bad things about me. So
Yeah. So I think like that's
try not to be shitty to people that have never even met you. Like it's possible.
We are actually winding down, so Kira, if you want to play us home with some plugs.
Oh, right. So please, if you liked what you heard and or saw today, subscribe to our YouTube and iTunes. And if you want to see our lovely porn stars answer your fan questions, please subscribe to our Patreon. Can you tell everybody where to find you online?
Yeah, absolutely. I am Siouxsie Q Media on the Instagram. Thehorcast.com is where you can always find me, and Siouxsie Q Media on Twitter as well. Yeah. And you can support me and see like the private good stuff at fancentro.com/therealwhornextdoor. That's where you can see us do all the filthy stuff that we do all day, every day.
Find me on Twitter at It's Michael Vegas, ITSMICHAELVEGAS. Find me on Instagram, Michael Vegas. And go follow peghim.com on Twitter, peghimcom, all one word. And also go join peghim.com to see some really great, to see some beautiful pegging and fisting content.
And I will be up on that site soon. I'm hoping.
But Sluts United.
Sluts Unites.
Oh, and add me on Snapchat, Real Whore. That's the easiest way.
Hey, thank you guys for being on the pod. We appreciate you guys getting high and horny with us.
Thank you guys very much.
Yes, thank you.